Welcome to an artist's life. I live by the sea in New England, and I love to share my quiet, simple life of art and garden and home. So I hope you will feel that you can come and join me. Welcome to an artist's life. Good day, everyone. Welcome to this week's vlog. I think we're going to get up to the usual. We'll do a little outing to an antique shop this week, and we are going to probably do a bit of artwork, and we'll do something, we'll think about something for the garden anyway. It is starting to be that time of the year, and I'm sure you can tell by the background that the snow is gone, and it looks to be a lovely warm spring week. So let's get started with this week's vlog, shall we? And it's funny to think how we began and ended last week in the snow, with the crunch of it under our wellies, and the sun sinking lower somehow it feels when there's snow on the ground. But this week promises warmer, spring-like weather, so the snow will pass and melt away, and the warmth of spring weather will blow in, and as a full moon is approaching, we shall have higher tides and lower tides, with the extreme of the full moon giving us the flats, which the birds love to play about in as everything becomes exposed. And let's hope the warmer weather will bring us spring. But let's set off today for a fun adventure. But first, let's hop in and give the chickens a treat. And here are the three graces: charm, beauty, and creativity. I'm not sure about that, but they do like old cantaloupe melon. So let's hop in the car and head out on today's adventure. And as the old houses of historic Route 6A pass us by, or we pass them by, I want to show that where we're heading today is a different part of the Cape. The Cape, with its long, arm-shaped structure, is split into two roads that run its length, and Old 6A, which is what we're on now, is the more historic, older section. But where we're going today for our antiques is on Route 28, which still has some old things, but has more of a, let's say, kitschy or quirky side, as it was highly built up after the 1950s. So let's continue our drive along the old stone walls, colonial houses, and white picket fence of 6A before we head off to the fun, quirky side of Route 28. And whilst Route 28 still has bucolic settings, such as cranberry bogs as we see here, and lovely saltwater inlets and freshwater ponds going to grist mills and herring runs, it has much more of an industrial feel, and the bit of quirkiness and kitschiness left over from the 50s and the 60s. So you'll see fun-colored, odd-shaped buildings, as well as that favorite pastime of Route 28 summers, mini golf, with its playful surroundings and odd creatures. Happy times on Route 28. And we've reached our destination, the Antique Center of Yarmouth on Route 28. Let's head in. Oh, look at the sun behind the building. It's so lovely. I hope my camera's catching those starbursts. It's such a lovely spring feeling day. Oh, won't be needing those skates or that sled for some time. Oh, I love this old doll's house, and it's not a traditional 1/12 scale, but it's obviously been left outside. This is the outside. And look inside. Oh, it has such that New England feel, the very sparse Puritan, like an old colonial church, and There's something about it being in this state that makes me want to have it in my garden in this state and use it as some sort of fairy garden. We'll think about that. I don't even know how much it would cost, but let's head over here. So there's this place is nice because it has a fun mix of odd little outdoor things, like that funny little cherub statue. It looks like a little monk. This water is pretty in this rusty old radio flyer. Let's, oh, here's a darling old rocking horse. Another one. And now this chest has just been sitting out, so it's weathered quite well. And being only $50, that's the type of thing I really want to make over a sort of an outdoor greenhouse area, and using an old trunk like that would be nice rather than plastics and things, so something to think about. Let's have another look at this dollhouse because it's just... either it's a romantic in me, or it's just simply because I myself live in the disarray and decay of the past. But there's just something romantic about this old, dirty windows. So we'll think about that. So let's head in and look at some antiques. Now this place is rather vast, so I actually might split this trip up into 2 outings. So let's start looking around and see what we come up with. I love this little Asian lion with a ball. That's darling. Oh, I love these paintings. Ah, this pair of paintings is so lovely. They do look like they need restoration. Yes, it's probably why they're $9.25 for the pair. However, if I could afford them, I don't think I would restore them, which is probably sad. Oh, look at this darling blue and white chocolate pot. That's to add to our ever-growing blue and white collection. Let's see. It's not too dear. Oh, it's only $35. That's really sweet. I'll have to think about that one. And lots of little bits and bobs in here. Oh, some duck decoys. Oh, now I'm on the hunt for some lamps. This is an interesting lamp. Maybe a bit too dramatic. Well, this is a pretty sideboard for $4.25. I don't really need a sideboard. And I also, I love just the simple cut glass. I love pictures and things like this. When they're inexpensive, I collect them up because they're good for doing flowers in. Oh, this is pretty. I love the depression glass. This pretty green one is. That's not bad. Only $25. See, that would be beautiful for summer bouquets. So sometimes I find little glass like that I like to collect up. Now let's see. Oh, this is a sweet lamp. I'm slightly tempted because I'm such a lover of the figure, but I think it's probably more 70s than antiques. So let's keep looking and see what else we can find. These are really darling chests and chest of drawers. It's pretty. I like the knobs on that. $4.25 is a bit dear, but it's still quite nice. And oh, that's a lovely glassed cabinet. I like the old wavy glass. Let me just give a sort of a pan along here to show you how vast this place is. And besides that, to the right is another big room, and off the back, which you can't see from where I'm filming, is also another deeper room. Oh, that's a lovely chest of drawers. But there's lots of little bits and bobs, lots of tiny things here, so there's no way we could see everything in one visit. And in fact, after this visit, I may break this up into 2 posts. We'll see, just because there's lots of little things to look at. So, oh, I used to breed Italian greyhounds, and I've always loved greyhounds, so anytime I see a greyhound of anything, I'm kind of excited about it. And some lovely sterling. Is that a tea box in the back? And let's see, other sterling. Oh, it's a pretty sterling teapot. Little bits of jewelry. Oh, this is beautiful, this nautical picture with the Constitution on. This is Mattiday, which is a great reproduction company. I should do a vlog about that one day. Oh, and the Windermere Wedgwood pattern. Quite lovely. $35 a cup setting, or what is it, 200 for all. Lovely oranges and things. Now let's walk down here. I'm going to try to make a concerted effort to not say lovely and little as often, but gosh, it's hard to break habits. And see, there's so many little things. And of course, I say little. Bottles. I find these type of things often when we dig on the property, or we just have them squirreled away. They're nice to put like a single bud vase. You can use it that way. All sorts of paraphernalia, paper, postcards, tons of jewelry. I like this old telephone. Be pretty in the kitchen. So you can see there's just endless booths, so much china and small things. So I probably will do multiple vlogs from here. Oh, I love this blue and white set. Oh, that's really pretty. Let's see. 65 isn't bad. It says teapot, but that's actually a coffee pot. It's really pretty. I'll have to think about that. Such a lovely color of blue too, and I like the gold rim. Of course that means you can't put it in the dishwasher, but that's alright. How often would I use it, really? So many little things. Oh, of course I love figures. This is funny, this little carved figure. Huh? England's never far behind. The Queen's silver Jubilee mug. Oh, that's an interesting pot. That would be great for flower arrangements. Funny little Jubilee mug. Various teacups. And of course, a blue and white figure. Oh, I love that inlaid table. What a lovely clock with reverse painted glass. Looks quite desirable. I love clocks. I just love to hear the sound of them in the house. Oh, 2:25, not too bad. But just that clicking and ticking sound and then the chime. I really do love that sound in the house. And what other things? Oh, this is darling. The little metal cat. I just love iron figures like that. Great little doorstop and a figure on a swing. So much jewelry and little bibelots and some sweet little Toby jugs. I sort of have a love-hate with these. I really do like some of them, but of course some of them are so twee and quirky. I like the old Victorian grandmother face. That's rather sweet. And that old book is really pretty. Lovely sterling salt and peppers. More jewelry. Oh, this is a lovely nativity. I think it's Hummel. I'm not a big fan of Hummel, but this is actually kind of a nice set, but I'm sure because it's Hummel it would be rather dear. Yes, I'm not willing to pay $650 for a nativity I'm only partially in love with. Oh, but it's this sweet little blue and white teacup, teapot, and milk jug. And here's a pretty picture that would be amazing for flowers. Oh, I like this inkwell. Etched glass and brass. Oh, this is pretty. It's rather pricey. This is a Japanese suma, which is actually a yellowware, which was, the Japanese didn't even like. They just imported it in the mid-19th century to America because to the West because they really liked that sort of colorway. Oh, I need a new milk jug for my Brewster General Store bought teapot. So this actually is a good size. So I drink a lot of cream. Oh, I love this set. Oh, this is Grandma Moses. Grandma Moses tea set, and it's a mid-century 50s design. Grandma Moses, whom if you don't know, you should look up. She was a famous American painter who didn't start painting until she was in her 80s. But from the 50s, probably through the 70s, her work was quite desirable. But this is a darling. I didn't even know this service existed. I'm assuming it's Grandma Moses. Or Grandma Moses inspired, anyway. Look how darling. That would actually be really sweet at Old King's. I wonder what pottery brand? Oh, yes. It's Burnday Pottery, which I think used to be part of Crown Potteries, which was an Englishman came in early 1900s, I think, to the Midwest and started this clay pottery company. Here's a fun collection of blue willow, but most of it probably modern. These are interesting shaped little mugs. It's not too bad. Just the simple willow pattern, but these would be lovely for lattes or Irish coffees or something interesting to think of. A darling butter dish. Again, these aren't very old, but they certainly are sweet, and they look nice all gathered together. Another sweet little milk jug. Oh, I like these candlesticks. I'm sure these are very modern, but how sweet. And for $12, it might be hard to pass these up. Keep adding to our blue and white collection. I adore this collection of lead soldiers and horses. Look at all of the horses lined up. Can't you just picture the chimney piece in the nursery with all the lead soldiers and horses lined up? $85 for those. I'm kind of tempted. The kilts, the mounted horsemen. I love tiny things like this because they're easy to collect and stick in little spots on bookshelves or on window ledges next to my beach treasures of shells and such. These are always pretty to have too. Fashion illustrations framed. It's pretty. And of course the quintessential Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard or Cape Cod hand-painted signs. Barnstable, Cape Cod. Those abound around here. Sweet old toy and nice. Oh, these are nice because I'm, again, looking for lamps and I really want to find a pair, and these old metal converted to lamps at only $20 a piece. I have to think about those. Some more Cape Cod and mermaid signs. Let's have a look over here. Oh yes, this is Rose Medallion, and this china is always collectible, and you can usually tell it usually has a central circle with either a peony or a bird or something in it, and with then other circles of designs around it with people or such, usually with pastel colors mixed with reds and golds. And I guess you can tell the really old Rose Medallion because after the, I think it was like the mid-1880s, the U.S. required, maybe the 1890s, the U.S. required a stamp made on it. So if you have rose gold without a stamp, it usually makes it more desirable because it's an older piece. Oh, this is a lovely collection of Joseph Lincoln's books. Joseph Lincoln was an author, a local Cape Cod author, who wrote really lovely idealized stories about old Cape Cod and the area. Well worth reading if you're interested in this area. Much more, I think his, like a contemporary of his would have been Theodore Dreiser, who wrote about Chicago, whilst Joseph Lincoln wrote much more romanticized or idealized versions, which are nice to read because they're more like a happy story. He also built this beautiful house in Chatham called Cross Trees, which still exists today, in the shingle style, which is sort of like the local vernacular of Cape Cod and coastal New England. And it's a really beautiful house. And actually back in the early 2000s, a nice couple purchased it and have restored it back to the way Lincoln had it. They unenclosed the porch, they put back the lovely archway, and while I'm editing this, I'll try to put a picture up of it. So it's a really lovely house, and I think his books, I think even movies were made of his books. I think in 2000s there was a funny movie called The Golden Boys. It's kind of silly. I think it has like Muriel Hemingway, Rip Torn. It's kind of a funny story. But yeah, if you're interested in reading anything that's sort of like an idealized version of old Cape Cod, I definitely recommend his books. Oh, and here's a lovely collection of Edward Gorey books. You can hardly make a trip to Yarmouth on Cape Cod and not think about Edward Gorey. Now we're on Route 28, but on Route 6A, the other side of the Cape, is the Edward Gorey house, where he lived until his death. I think he died in like 2000. And his house is now turned into a museum. So if any of you ever make a trip to Cape Cod, I highly suggest going to the Edward Gorey house. It's quite interesting. And his works are very fascinating. I've always loved his illustrations. Many Americans will probably recall his illustrations from the PBS mystery series. The animation that began, the drawings, the black and white and line drawings that began for this, that was Edward Gorey. So he's such a fascinating character that I just suggest, if you don't know who he is, to look up Edward Gorey, and if you do make it to the Cape, head over to the Edward Gorey house. This is an adorable travel vanity. I love, it's so clever how the mirror folds this way, and of course it would have a little lock, I'm sure, and key. But isn't that sweet? If only we could travel with such things today. If only we could travel. Folds up lovely like that with a mirror, and then this little drawer pulls out. How adorable is that? And it looks like it was probably papered in maybe the 20s last it was used, although it's probably Victorian. This is a beautiful piece of old Limoges, and it's in amazing condition, museum quality. It's really lovely. And of course Limoges makes us think of France and Lalande. There's some really pretty vases and museum quality pieces in this case. I love this blue piece. If it had a D on it, I probably would be tempted. It is only $65, but if it had a D, I would be tempted. And some other lovely vases and various things. Now, I love these molds, and sometimes they're kind of 50s, but this one actually looks more to be 20s, and I think it would be adorable to have some of these in the boathouse. And the little rooster juice glasses would be sweet, as well as I want to do animal themes in there whenever I get around to that renovation. And a great collection of old milk jugs. Milk bottles, I should say. This is a sweet little cabinet. This could be a good contender for the boathouse. Only $95. I like the latch. Oh, and it has these sweet sets of drawers. Actually, these would be, this would be a wonderful piece either in a bathroom or in the little pantry or larder I want to make. Oh, now this isn't expensive and it's not dear. It's not even old, I'm sure, but I really like the looks of this because I love blue and white planters. So, well, this has been, I've got a lot of footage, so I think I may save some for a second video. So why don't we end this bit of the video with this faux Chagall-esque type drawing as we pan down to the lovely warm fire. I love that this antique place has the fire going. And a dream of till we can return to this place for more footage. Now let's return home and see what else we can get to for this week's vlog. And home again, jiggity jig. Here we are back home. And look, the tide is out so severely that you can see in the center of the bay, which is normally underwater at low tide, is completely exposed, and the gulls and various birds are out having a smorgasbord of delicious things. By full moon, the drain will be almost complete, and that also means at high tide, the water will be well up, close to the kayak, and the spitting rock will be up to that highest water mark. And Algernon Siegel's flat rock will be completely covered. But a lovely day to be out and about, and a pretty view to come home to. Now, let's unpack the car and look at the fun things we purchased today. I think that was really a fun outing, and how adorable is this chair? This beautiful Gothic chair, which I'm sure I will be doing a drawing of an animal in it. And I've actually done a painting before in a Gothic style chair, and I didn't own it at the time, so manifesting what I need, I guess. And this beautiful chair was only $45, which I thought was an amazing deal. And then I got some various blue and white. Again, these weren't really dear, and they're not antiques or precious. This is a pair of blue willow candle sticks I just thought were really sweet, and I needed a new blue and white blue willow creamer. This is just Johnson Brothers England willow pattern, but it will go nicely with my Brewster's General Store purchased blue and white teacup, so that's for that. And this also isn't dear. I mean, this probably is new, but it was just really sweet, and it was only $20. Again, blue, and I have a lot of different blue and white pots that I plant up and then place out on the terrace in the summer. So I think what I'm going to do with this is plant, I've been going through my bulbs I store in the winter to plant in the summer, like your dahlias and ranunculus and things. So I think I'm going to do some ranunculus and some wildflower seeds in this. Speaking of ranunculus, I always grow my ranunculus from bulbs, but another tip from Lalonde, from Lovely Marie, was that she grows ranunculus from seeds, so I'm going to try that this year. Oh, now I also got beside the chair, which I loved, I needed some new lamps, and I've been looking for a pair, and I really like this. These are 2 pieces of, now I'm not sure if it's actually old metal. It could be manufactured to look as old, but it does look like old pieces of possibly a metal gate or some sort of housing or something, but the person had transferred it into a pair of lamps. So they've just discreetly wired the electrical along the back, and then they're set on a beautiful slate base. So I'll just need to get some darling little lampshades and some finials, and I think it actually might be a good opportunity for me to get just a simple plain shade, and then probably design one of the fabrics I designed for when I'm doing the boathouse or something. I could possibly cover the shades in that, so that could be a fun ongoing project. But until then, I can stick any old white shades I have and still use them until then. So that was my haul for today. So I'm pretty excited about the things I got, and I definitely will take us back there again, because it was, you know, they have a lot of things, and their prices aren't bad. Still not French brocante prices, but really good. You know, you can find a little milk jug for $9 and a sweet chair for $45. And these beautiful remade lamps were only $20 each. So I think $40 for a pair of lamps. I mean, if you were to buy new, it would be more than that. And then, for, I thought it would be kind of a fun unboxing. Now, obviously, I'm not sponsored by Burpee. That would be amazing. But on Garden Answer, Laura on Garden Answer, which is another vlog I love to watch, she has been using these wicking, self-watering seed starters from Garden Supply for some time, and I always forget to order in enough time to get them in. And I was in there the other day looking at seeds, and they had this. So I'm going to unbox this and give this a try, and we'll see how these work. And I think I might grab a couple more, because if these work as well as I think they should, then I might keep these in my normal seed starting rotation. And speaking of seeds, I finally got in my order of seeds. I ordered seeds over a month ago, but in here in the US, we've been told that seed shipping is taking over 30 days, and it was about 45 days. And this is, I forget the name of, this is a seed company I've never ordered from, and they're a small concern in Santa Rosa, California, Swallowtail Garden. And I've never ordered from them, so I can't speak to how well the germination is, but I was excited about the seeds I have, because ever since last year, I've been trying to get my hands on these Dalmatian hybrid foxglove, or digitalis, which normally, as most people know, digitalis is a biennial. So you plant it, it goes green the first year, and then you get the flowers the second year. So I heard also from Laura on Garden Answer, she tried the Dalmatian foxglove, and they did grow and flower the first season. So I was excited because I was able to get them in a peach color, and also in a rosy pink color. And this year I want to start collecting up flowers, annuals and perennials, so obviously keeping the seeds from annuals. I want to start a peach or apricot colored garden. Rather than just doing a white garden, I thought doing a garden in peaches, and then it probably still wouldn't be just peach, because I was thinking peach with little shocks of blue, because I love blue and orange, obviously are complementary colors, and I love that color combination. So I was thinking how nice it would be to make a predominantly peach or apricot colored garden with little touches of blue. So for example, I have some blue delphiniums, and I also have bought some eryngium, which is sea holly. Now I grow this every year from bulbs. It does really well in my coastal climate, because it likes to be dried out, which I have plenty of wind to dry things out, and it doesn't mind our sandy soil. However, I've never grown them from seed, but I think they must grow fairly easy from seed, because I've seen them on our beach from my perennial garden. They've found their way down there. So I'm going to try those. So I also got some paper daisies and some straw flowers, both in that apricot peach color. So I'm excited to try. And obviously straw flowers and paper daisies are wonderful to grow, because when you cut them, they look like dried flowers forever. They last very well. So we could do some fun things maybe at winter. Maybe the apricot, I was thinking these apricot paper daisies and straw flowers would be really pretty to mix on the pink tree this coming Christmas. I know I shouldn't be thinking about Christmas already, but so yeah, so I'll be doing some of those seeds. Oh, and this was exciting about seeds. I found Burpee when I was getting the self-watering container. They have this marigold, which is a giant, it looks almost like a mum, and it's large. And it says it's originally theirs from the 50s, but I have been reading my 1930s Better Homes and Gardens magazines pretty frequently, and I've seen advertisements in the back for these as a new flower even in the 30s, so I don't know if maybe they just didn't keep records or maybe they weren't considered finished until the 50s, but I'm really excited because I love finding vintage as opposed to just antique like 1800s and earlier seeds. I love when there are middle to early 20th century seeds that were big in a certain era. It's fun to try those. And I'm not a big fan of tiny marigolds, but they're so good for the garden to keep pests away. But I love mums, so I'm quite excited to grow these bright yellow giant marigolds. So we'll see if they work. So it was quite exciting to get my seed order in. I guess patience makes the heart stronger, they say. So so I think that was a fun outing, getting these lovely treasures, getting ready for some seed starting this week. And so I hope you enjoyed that. Well, up next is some drawing, but I have to share my drawing companion with you because often when I'm sitting in my studio and Oona is under her blanket, she'll start fussing about under her covers and she will hit my mouse or click on my mouse, and then I pay attention and remind myself that she's there. And she'll poke her head out and give me one of her stares. She likes to see what I'm up to. And then either she'll go back into the covers or she'll simply sit on my arm. Although if I'm using the keyboard, she tends to want to step on that, so I then have to put her back onto the covers. But she's been a good boon and drawing companion. However, she still wants not anything to do with the chicks. I think she thinks they are something that she is not, for she thinks she is either a human or a cat. That's our Oona. All right, let's get to our drawing. So for this week's sketch, we're going to be doing another lady with an animal, and per a request from one of my patrons on Patreon, I'm going to be having an owl with this lady, and possibly another animal, I'm not sure yet. So at this stage, I'm just with multiple layers, 2 layers to start. I'm sketching out the outline, sort of the framework of where the body would be, and then I can shut that off and start outlining. At the sketch stage, it's very illustrative, very much like an illustration, and then just again roughing out and sketching out how I would like the owl to be sitting on top of her head, going in and adding little rough bits here and there. Now at this stage I'm also still really thinking of storylines. The characters tend to really sort of come to life for me at this point. I've sort of been carrying them around in my head. I've done, before this stage too, I've done multiple sketches of different figures in different positions with the owl in different positions. So this is sort of the final one worth capturing. And here I'm doing the underpainting in pastel and chalk, just to get the general base color in which I will build up, and then I can add multiple layers on top of that. So here I'm going in and adding lights and darks and trying out various colors. And at this point, the character is really starting to sort of flesh out and come to life. There's almost, the storyline is really starting to evolve in my head. The character and her little companion seem to have a purpose, or I try to think of a purpose for them. And as I'm going to be doing a series of ladies with pets, in the end, depending on how many I end up with, maybe there'll be some kind of storyline that goes along with it. Now that doesn't mean it will be an actual written story, but I kind of like the idea of doing the illustrative or the writing to go along with it. It just sort of helps me to continue to grow the character. So here I'm adding more details and trying to flesh it out. And then at this stage, after I'm done sketching, then I will do the next stage, which will be the final finished painting, which I will do in oils. So here you see the rough sketch stage for a lady with an owl. Now last week you recall this sketch, which I did of the lady with a hedgehog, and now you can see the finished version of it in digital oil, and I'm quite happy with the colors and the softness of it. And then here you can see me playing with the graphic design of putting an illustrative border around it. Now the reason I do this is I'm going to be applying this final piece onto things, making it ready in graphic design so it can be on notebooks, on shower curtains, mugs, journals, all types of things. But then now the original piece as well, just the head itself without the decorative border, will be available as prints. And then with the decorative border, there'll be posters, note cards, that type of thing. I'd hoped to have that done before this week's vlog, but it wasn't possible. So next week I'll be sharing that when it's up and ready. And then of course I'll be working on the next phase of the lady with the owl. So I hope you enjoyed this week's drawing. So let's close out this week's video. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. All the things we got up to, artwork, having fun antique adventures, trying to think about planting, and thinking about the garden, which is going to be uppermost in our mind lately. And I shall see you all in the comments and on the chats. And I really do love having my once a week video as a premiere, because it's so lovely to chat with you as the video is on, as I've met so many of you through chats. So I'll be seeing you in chats. And then also I do have a Patreon page, so if anyone is interested in joining that, I do, my favorite part about the Patreon page, and one of the reasons I started it, is I have a little online chat area, which I call the virtual village, that my few patrons who are on there were able to just pop in and chat with us whenever, with one another whenever we like. We can leave videos and messages and things. So it's kind of nice. So that's a little plug for my Patreon channel. But by no means do I expect everyone to rush there. But I just thought I'd give it a mention, as I think that's what YouTubers are meant to do. But I'm certainly happy for anyone who's taken the time to join me here on YouTube. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed this week, and I shall see you in the chats. And remember, stay creative.